Today we're here to talk about the Garmin Varia Radar, also known as the RCT715.
That's a lot of letters and numbers. What the heck does that all mean?
I'm not sure what the 715 is for, but the R stands for radar, the C stands for camera, and the T stands for tail light. So these guys right here were not provided by Garmin. We were not paid to make this video. We purchased these with our own money.
We bought it, yep.
We bought it and we wanted to test them out, and these are our unbiased opinions. We wanted to get our hands on it and run it through a bunch of tests before we came in and sat down and talked about it. Just didn't want to read back a bunch of specs to you. We figured it'd make more sense for us to go out there and use it and put it through all of the paces and see if it's any good or not. So,
yes.
What do you think?
There's some fantastic things with it that I really love, and I like the updates, and there's a couple of just crap shows.
Let's talk about what this thing is first for those that might not know what the Varia Radar is.
Yep. The Varia Radar is a taillight system with radar that detects traffic coming up behind you, which is fantastic. So you can be looking at your head unit, not have to turn your head and look behind you and know that there's a car or a vehicle approaching you from behind.
Yeah, which is nice because generally speaking, cyclists a lot of times will look over their left shoulder and to see if there's a car coming in, and they'll find themselves veering into the lane of traffic.
Yes.
And that's not safe for cyclists. Another good thing about it is if you are riding out in the road a little bit and the radar pops off and you see that there's a car coming, it naturally is going to make you want to get over as far as you can to the right. Again, putting you in a safe spot, but the motorist also appreciates that too.
Yes.
So that they can pass you a little bit more easily.
We're big fans of the radar. It works fantastic. This latest update also includes a camera, which is just what we wanted, and fantastic that they finally did it. So this records images of people coming up behind us.
So Lance,
yes,
the camera.
Yes.
Is it any good?
The camera is quite good, but not fantastic.
What do you mean by not fantastic?
Well, as far as recording images goes, it does great. It's a 1080p camera. It is not a very good action camera.
And that's where I think people get confused. They see camera and they automatically think GoPro. I'm gonna have a GoPro on my radar now. And it's not a GoPro. It's not even close to a GoPro. A GoPro is gonna shoot in 5.7K, if I'm not mistaken, up to. And it's gonna have image stabilization. It's gonna have really great picture profiles. This guy shoots in 1080p. It's not stabilized. And
that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, the picture quality is okay. It's serviceable though.
Yes.
So if you're looking for an action camera in this guy, unless you're riding on really buttery smooth roads and you don't like to get out of the saddle and sprint, and you just think that you're going to be able to keep it steady Eddie, and you want to pull some footage for that to put yourself together a little video or whatnot, probably not going to be the best bet for you.
I don't think that Garmin made this device for action camera use. I think they made it for safety.
All right, so you've got a radar built into it, you've got a camera built into it, and the other thing is the light itself. It's a pretty stinking bright light. Per Garmin, I believe they say that you can see it from up to a mile away.
Yes.
So
very bright light, works very well as a tail light. One of the better ones on the market. Not the brightest one on the market, but one of the better ones on the market.
It does some other cool things, like you can have it set up to where it's just a solid red, and as soon as it detects a car, it starts to flash, and that's going to catch the motorist's eye.
Correct.
So it's also going to catch the eye of maybe some of your fellow cyclists who are going to see that thing start flashing, and then they're going to know if they don't have a radar with them that
Correct.
They can get over.
Yeah, you can, or you can set it on a flashing mode, or you can set it in a Peloton mode where it's not quite as bright, so you're not blinding the people behind you.
Gotcha. All right, so after using this thing for a bit of time, we've come up with a list of pros and cons. Let's start with the bad stuff first.
Okay. The worst thing with it is the app. It has its own Garmin Varia app.
It stinks that it came out of the gate so poorly, but through firmware updates, they can make this app be pretty good. Me personally, I just don't like using the app other than setting up the device in the very beginning. I don't want to use this to go back and view videos. It's terrible.
That's the biggest issue, is if you want to look at the video footage and you want to use the app to do that, it's really unusable. Just to look at a little clip, it might take 2 to 4 minutes to download from here to your app to actually view part of it.
There are a few workarounds, and we'll get to that in a moment here. But what are some other cons that you have on this guy?
It's twice as big and twice as heavy as the previous model.
Okay, now it's weighing in at?
This, with the mount on it, weighs in at just about 7 ounces, which is just under half a pound, which is a lot.
Now, if you think about it though, you've got an action camera-esque video camera in there, you've got a radar, you've got a flashing light. All of that's gonna draw a lot of energy, so it's gonna need some battery.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's where most of the weight's coming from. So it is a little heavy that way. But you know what? If you're out racing your bike, you're not gonna have this on there. My next gripe with this guy is the SD card, the micro SD card slot in the back. It's not very easy to get into. It's basically one of the circular coin slot doors that you have to put a coin into. The very first time I took it out, it had a little bit of a marring mark on there. The second thing is once you get that off, getting the micro SD card out of this slot in the way that they've built it, not ideal. And it just feels like something that's destined to break on me. It's not something that I would recommend changing out often because I don't know what the wear and tear is gonna be like on this guy. The next thing is the actual micro SD card that they ship it with.
16 gigabytes.
And that's, in video land, is tiny. Most action cameras are gonna come with 32, and you can get 64, 128, 256, and you can keep on going up. So what I would recommend, because this is gonna give you about 2 hours of footage, which, yeah, that's not terrible, but then it's gonna start riding over it. If you want to have any amount of like storage on there, you know, get yourself a 128 card. They're not very expensive. Throw it in there. Even a 64 or 32 is going to suffice, but 16 is just underwhelming.
The specs on it say it will only take up to 128 gigabyte card, but other people have used 256 cards and it's still working. But one of the things is the battery, even though it's not replaceable in here, you can't remove the battery and put something else in.
How about the cost of this thing?
Oh, what do you think, Jake?
$400.
It's $400. That's a lot for a piece of equipment.
How much are you going to pay for a good radar? One person that makes them. $200.
They're $200 for a good radar and a good action camera. How much is that?
If you went out and bought maybe a couple generation old GoPro, it's going to be $200 to $250 for maybe a Hero 8. A good light as well is going to cost you $50, $60, $70. So when you start to add it all up, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense where they derived this number, this cost from, and it just becomes a question of is $400 worth it? How about some pros, Lance?
This thing is built with safety in mind, and as far as a safety device, it is fantastic. It warns you of cars coming up here, and it records those cars coming towards you. So, you know, it does what it says it's supposed to do. Exactly. So that part is excellent.
I like the fact that it's everything built into one unit.
Yes.
You turn on the button, you don't think about anything, and you just ride. And
Correct.
The fact that the battery is going to last for 4 to 7 hours, that's not terribly bad.
No.
So I've got something that I push a button, and it takes care of all of that, and it pairs really quickly and easily with my head unit.
It does.
And it works great with Wahoo, it works great with Garmin, it works great with Hammerhead.
There are a couple features that are only with the Garmin, you can actually control the camera and take a photo by using the head unit, and that only works with newer generation Garmin devices. It doesn't work with Wahoo and stuff yet. Another pro is that it is USB-C. Fantastic.
Correct.
Thank you.
Now, that USB-C, there is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. With respect to actually pulling the video down or going and viewing the video, it's a hassle through that app. We're not gonna lie. The app sucks, sorry. But if you actually take this, plug your USB-C into it, plug it into your computer is going to mount the SD card in there.
It'll recognize this as a new device.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Open it up, and then you can simply scroll through all of your videos super fast, super easy. You can scrub through, find whatever you want. You can grab images. You can, export the video. You can drag it onto a hard drive. It makes it really easy to use.
One of the other great things about this is it actually has a microphone as well. Mm-hmm. There's a little microphone hole right on the back of this. That can be handy too.
The crash detection on that.
Yes.
That's actually kind of neat. So it's, they've got that built into some of their head units. Like if it detects an incident, it's going to basically send a message to somebody. Well, this will actually go into a crash detection or some sort of an incident detection, and it will actually hard save that or lock that file away so it doesn't get overwritten.
The crash detection does to be fairly sensitive. I've gone off a couple curbs and it has locked those things. Another pro is that the mounting unit is much more solid than it was before. It's quite nice. It's a little beefier, a little heavier than it was before. And actually, the new mount won't work with the old mount. It's not a quarter turn type mount like all of Garmin's stuff.
So one of the other things that we do like about this as well is that it does have a few different settings on it. The first one is you can set it to where the camera's not always recording, and then it will actually turn on the video camera, and then it'll take the whole footage until the vehicle's passed and clear, and then it'll turn off again, which theoretically is going to save you a little bit of battery life.
It will. It should save you more battery life. That tends to work a little better in rural areas and not in the city where every second you're seeing something behind you anyway. I got a question, Jake. After all these pros and cons, is this something that you're going to recommend, or is something you're going to use compared to the old radar?
Yes, I am. I actually I've started using this in favor of the other one. It's on my bike every time I go out and ride. I quite like it. I haven't had an incident yet where I've needed to use the footage. Just, kind of going back and laughing a little bit at the times that you were flipping me off, but
If there's a camera on Jake's rear post, I'm going to flip it off just because it's funny.
I think the pros greatly outweigh the cons on this thing, and I think it's only going to get better with time. The app, through some firmware updates, can be made better.
Yeah.
How about you, Lance?
So I'm going to use it. I like it. I like that it records clips. It's just the safety features of this alone outweigh the weight penalty.
Yeah. And there's another thing that I like about this as well, because I think more and more people will adapt to using a device like this. There are other manufacturers out there that make something similar without the radar, but they make something similar. But I think that more cyclists need to be running cameras on their bikes.
Yeah.
The more cameras we have running, the more footage we're going to have of people behaving badly or not paying attention. And I think that's going to help cyclists protect themselves in the long run.
Agreed.
We do carry these at the Dialed Cycling Lab, though. It's, again, one of the products that we've brought on board because it's something we believe in, we want to carry, and we've tested out, and we'd be happy to help you out with one. We'll throw down a discount code if you're interested in getting one for yourself. If you have any questions, throw it down in the comments. We'll be happy to get back to you.
I'm going to ignore all the comments.
That's par for the course.
That's probably.
And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.